I would be Chelsea's counterpart with Livestock Marketing Association on working with our association on all of our service areas. Animal care and handling, our animal handling programs is one piece of that service. We also provide legislative assistance, legal assistance, communications, outreach, employee training, a full scope of programs for the livestock auction market industry. So I think most in the room are probably familiar with Livestock Marketing Association, but want to give you a little bit of a background. This map would be representative of where you would find our 820 plus members. We are predominantly made up of livestock auction markets. We represent about 75% of the livestock auctions from across the country, but we also work with a handful of feed yards, a large number of dealer brokers, order buyers, a few small packers, but by far and wide our largest concentration of membership and our focus of all of our programs is on the livestock auction market sector, that fixed facility livestock auction market. Give you some background of our animal handling programs, which I know Chelsea's predecessor, Nancy Robinson, had been working with NIAA for years, going back on animal handling materials. I've got brochures going back into the mid-90s of materials that were put together by this organization and others to specifically address euthanasia, care of compromised animals within the livestock auction market sector. We really took a stance in 2008 with LMA to formalize those programs and created our guide to animal handling and employee training for livestock marketing businesses. Felt at that time, based on some increased scrutiny with the investigative actions that we've talked about throughout the day, and an increased awareness that we were lacking in our auctions with information on timely euthanasia and appropriate policy in the handling of non-ambulatory animals. All of that, timing-wise, really tied in directly with the California packing plant videos coming out of New Mexico and Texas in 2 auction markets as well. That was the driver at that time to push our membership to say, yes, let's create a guide that has been developed with input by auction market members, but also heavily relies on scientific input, on industry research, and on our industry partners to advise in what those guidelines should be. In 2009, we advanced that and our leadership asked that our staff begin on-site assessments. Those would be second-party assessments, where we call them region executive officers, are going on-site to the auction markets and conducting an assessment of their handling practices, policies, and employee training programs. 2010, we launched the online training and certification modules with the Beef Cattle Institute there at Kansas State. In 2012, that's a date that I'm extremely proud of, the membership voted to make adherence to our programs a requirement to qualify for membership. If a livestock auction market member is found to have egregious violations, or if they refuse to participate in an on-site assessment and to work with us on continued improvements to meet our guidelines, they will meet an expulsion process to be removed from membership. We're extremely proud of that step. As I said, it was member voted. The fact that our members took a very firm stance that they were not willing to allow operators to be included on their membership roster that would not meet their standards for animal handling and animal care was impressive, and we're proud of that position. 2014, we took the next step and entered into an agreement with Validus to provide third-party assessment. Now, one notation, the participation in the on-site assessments, the second party that we started back in 12, is required. The Validus third-party assessments are voluntary. We select 5% of our membership annually. It's a random selection that have at least been a participant in a first-round assessment and Validus draws those names for a random selection and offers them an opportunity to participate in a third-party assessment. You'll hear me use the term assessment throughout the presentation. Our program is based on assessment practices, not audit, because it is an internal program. And it's not a pass-fail. We're looking for opportunities for continual improvement. 2014, we published an update to our guide, really focusing on improved information for euthanasia practices and movement of non-ambulatory animals. We made changes in several of the beef cattle practices to very closely mirror and identically mirror beef quality assurance practices. We've worked closely over the years with BQA, with the American Sheep Association and others to make certain that our standards are universally applied, that whatever those species groups are recommending, that's what we're recommending to the auction markets, with the caveat that we're taking that information and presenting it in a way that the auction markets in their unique handling environment will be able to apply. 2017, we are now beginning a new edit period for our guidelines, and we just got approved this earlier this year that we're creating an animal care advisory group made up of industry experts, academia, veterinarians from across the multiple species that the auction markets would care for, to assist us in reviewing, editing, and advising on changes to the LMA guidelines. So some of you here in the room, many of you, I'll be reaching out to ask if you would be willing to participate on that animal care advisory group to push recommendations for changes up through the channel, up through the chain of command with Livestock Marketing Association to make this next round of edits to our program. Now, the assessment process, I want to make clear, they are not surprise. We're not doing pop quizzes. They're not surprise assessments. We work very closely with our membership. We are a small, by comparison to some of the other numbers talked about today, we are a small enough organization that we rely heavily on the relationships with the direct relationships with each one of our member markets. Our region executive officers, similar to what Emily talked about earlier with their cooperative representatives, are conducting those assessments because we feel that they have the best opportunity to not only conduct that second party assessment, evaluate the practices, evaluate the policies that are in place as an auction business, but also to have continual checkbacks for that continual improvement on the program. If there's an item that's noted that maybe employees have not been fully trained, or they've not gone through a certification process, they may be working alongside a trained employee, but it identifies an opportunity for the remainder of the market employees, for our region executive officers, for our staff, to keep going back and keep encouraging for improvement and to fill in those gaps that we're identifying through the assessment process. It's up to the market manager of whether or not their employees are notified. I would say in most cases they are not. The market management is fully aware, but, and I'll show you our assessment form, one of the things that we're identifying through that process is we're watching behaviors of the employees, and we're also monitoring whether or not those employees are approaching our staff during the assessment. Validus also watches closely for that through the third-party assessment, because we are extremely aware of the risk of outside influence on being public businesses, on animal handling, the risk of undercover investigation programs within the auction markets, that we want to know if the employees are aware and are being conscious of who is in the handling areas of the livestock auction market. If they see someone that shouldn't be there, are they approaching that person and asking them, inquiring what their business is, and encouraging them to contact the auction management, or referring them directly to the auction management. We are public businesses. Day in and day out, we have strangers walking through our doors. So our programs have to be shaped and molded to meet that challenge of it's not simply just our employees that we have to worry about. We have to be conscious of the behaviors of truckers delivering livestock for sale, of producers delivering their own animals for sale, of our own employees and buyers and general public that's just attending the auction out of an interest in the market process. Last year, we conducted 77 assessments as our first round and follow-up with our member markets. And in each one of those assessments, we are having group training discussions with the market employees to put them either through the Beef Cattle Institute certification program or through just a standalone training program to quiz them on responsiveness to the guidelines with 924 employees. We're very proud of the outreach that we have, that direct one-to-one communication that we're able to have with our market employees, and find that has the best success rate of being able to see responses, getting the buy-in from the market employee, letting them feel like they have a voice in what the business policies will be as well, means that those individuals are taking responsibility, that when the manager's not able to have eyes on the handling practices, the sales going on, the owner manager may be in the front in the auction block, can't have eyes on what's going on in the back of the barn. Those employees must have buy-in, must be taking self-responsibility, that they're watching each other and ensuring best practices. So that's, we give them the opportunity, hey, speak up, tell us what you see is wrong. Tell us the points where you see weakness, where there's opportunities for gates to be fixed that maybe aren't swinging correctly, where there's slippage points, where failures in the facility are making their job more difficult. And the buy-in on that from the market employees has really been tremendous for us to be able to continue finding opportunities for improvement. As we work through the assessment, we are working to improve the safety conditions not only for the livestock but also for the employees. We feel that works hand in hand, that employees that are doing activities that are in the animal's best interest have a direct correlation to keeping them safe as well. We are working with large animals in a very confined area at a very fast pace. And we need to make certain that we're keeping everyone safe. So everything that we approach is coming at it from a human health as well as an animal health approach of doing our best to make the business sustainable by meeting both of those needs. We recommend that all livestock be assessed by a trained employee. We do recommend that that's done prior to unloading, to identify those animals that are being brought in for consignment that are already in a weakened state. We use the phrase a lot in the office of don't bring your problems to town. When it comes to the producer's role, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, that is vitally important, that we are educating, we're reminding livestock producers for timely culling and for proper handling on farm. It has an immediate impact on the handling in the auction markets. We are far too many times directly at the mercy of failures of handling on the farm that arrive at our doorstep at the auction markets. We're customer service business. We're trying to meet the demands of our sellers, our buyers, and our retail partners up the chain. It has to be a partnership, and it starts on the farm to clean up issues, timely culling, appropriate handling on the farm, so that the auction is able to focus on getting the best market value and moving those animals on up through the chain. Identifying footing and loading, footing issues at the loading and unloading area, maintaining those to limit slips or falls. We use a 2% guideline on slips and falls to identify problem areas, and the slip and fall differentiation It's Temple Grandin's guidelines, similar to what they use in the packing plants, as far as going down to the hock or going down to the brisket. But we've tried to match those guidelines as closely as we can so that there's consistency across all of the different sectors with what you'll find in the LMA programs. But we're watching all of the animals as they're coming off the trailers, as they're going into the ring, and we're making those counts. It's a check mark. Did they slip? Did they fall? What's the problem? Is it, once you see an issue, then the LMA employees and the validus assessors are stepping to the back of the barn and they're watching, is it a facility problem? Is it simply there needs to be a new mat? Does there need to be more sand placed there? Or is it a staffing issue, or is that person that's pushing the cattle up through the hole into the ring, are they pushing too hard? Are they bringing too many at one time? It's clogging the process, and it's being counteractive to what they're trying to accomplish. We really stress slow down, calm down. Speed of commerce can be achieved really remarkably, sometimes by just slowing down and allowing the animals to move at their own pace, rather than pushing so hard, push, that they clog and then refuse to move on forward into the sale ring or pin back or wherever we're moving them through the process. Gates is a very important topic for us. Gates should be kept properly secured at all times. That's a very major human safety element, as well as absolutely never throwing gates at animals or while they're in movement, not only to prevent bruising to the livestock themselves, but also to eliminate that likelihood for bounce back and really critical injury to the employees. Role of the producers that they have in animal handling at the auctions. We talked about it already. Proper handling starts at the farm, whether it's through genetic selection, the flightier cattle versus the calmer. Keep in mind, in the auction market, we can have as many problems with the pets as we can the livestock that have very small flight zones. When it comes to trying to move them through the auction, there are instances that employees can be injured and the animals themselves can be injured, because they're the family pet. They're the dog. They are not accustomed to movement any faster or that type of facility environment. And we need producers to understand the challenges that they bring to us when they bring animals that are of either extreme nature. Don't bring problems to town. Can't preach that enough. We remind it to all of our cattlemen's groups that we work with within the auction markets, and respecting restricted area signs and staying clear of working areas in the auctions. It would be impossible for me to say that I'm successful in keeping all of the people that are not market employees out of the handling areas. Buyers want to go back, they want to walk the pens, they want to see what's for sale that day. Producers want to walk the pens and see their stock before they're sold. But we highly encourage, we urge our markets to use restricted area signs to keep non-employees, non-trained individuals out of those handling areas, so that we can keep both the human and animal health at the top priority.